Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, and welcome to another video. So this is going to be even more new format testing, and this time I'm going to be on Dragon Link actually, which is a deck that obviously got new tools off the ban list such as Vitullo, and we are also getting some new cards in Battle of Chaos to help the strategy out, such as the Vampire Rank Gate, which I think is super sick for this deck. And my opponent this time is going to be, again, my good friend Aberdeen, who is going to be on the Adventure Phantom Knight deck. So, pretty standard stuff. It's projected to be one of the best decks in the upcoming format. So let's go ahead and get started here without any further ado. So we win the RPS here, and we're going to be choosing to go first. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. And then opening hand going first is going to contain Chaos Space, Ravine, Tracer, Ghost Ogre, and Tidying. So a pretty solid hand. You can see that we are on the Ogre, which is a hand trap that's been rising in popularity quite considerably recently just because of its ability to hit things out of the Adventure package. It's also a light hand trap in this deck, which works pretty nicely. Even though we're not on E-Telly, it still is pretty good and versatile. And then his hand going second is going to contain Torrent Scales, Tracker, Boots, Fogblade, and Right. So he has no hand traps or anything of his own. So we get to free combo here. So we're going to begin things out with the Chaos Space to pitch the Ghost Ogre. I am anticipating some hand traps, so I want to leave more engine in my hand in case I do get stopped here. Because even though I have Ravine to keep pushing, I want to do more with like this Tracer and like potentially Tidying to go pitch and send a copy of like Chamber just to have more plays. But yeah, we're going to go and search for a Collapse Serpent off of that. And then we're going to go and banish the Ghost Ogre to summon out Collapse Serpent and turn that into a copy of Striker Dragon, triggering both effects. So we're going to grab Wyvern Burster off the Collapse Serpent and the Boot Sector off the Striker Dragon. And then from here, we're going to banish Collapse Serpent to go summon Wyvern Burster, and then we get Chaos Space to put that back to draw into another copy of Tracer. Not the greatest draw, but it's still decent. It's a free card after all. Can't complain too much. We're going to link these two off into a copy of the Phatic Seal, and we're going to go ahead and grab a copy of Collapse Serpent off the Wyvern Burster. But we can skip the Romulus, obviously, since we already have Ravine. And then we're going to go and activate Boot Sector launch. We're going to go ahead and summon Tracer with that. I do it this way just because I'm popping the Boot Sector anyways, so I might as well keep the Ravine for follow-up. We're going to Tracer to pop the Boot Sector to go summon out the Recharger from the deck, and then those two will be synchroned away into a copy of the Chaos Ruler. And we hit really, really good cards off of this. Like all 5 of these cards are pretty absurd mills. You can see that we're on the one of Black Metal Dragon just as a card to summon off of Seal. And also just a decent normal summon. I do want to test out actually Hibernation Dragon potentially in this spot. That card is pretty cool as a way to accrue resources if you summon it off of Seal. It also can bring back Striker Dragon or Pissy or Quad Boral, things like that. So I do like that card quite a bit. But yeah, these cards are all really, really strong. And I debate on taking one of these two, just normal summon it. But I like to take the Ghost Ogre because I feel like my play is already strong enough. So yeah, we go ahead and do that after a bit of deliberation. And I forgot to trigger the router initially. It takes me a while to remember, but obviously you can see that we are testing and we're in a voice chat. So of course, if you're testing with friends, you should like either take plays back if they're like really obvious misplays like this one. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and activate the Ravine to go and pitch this copy of Tidying to send another tech, which is the Galactic Spiral Dragon. This one's pretty sick because it helps make the rank 8, the Vampire one, a lot easier, and it's also just a recurable body that's good follow-up. So I do like this. Also, we did not really have to send the Chamber off of the Tidying since we hit it anyways off the Chaos Ruler, so that is pretty advantageous. Or they say off the Tidying, I meant off the Ravine when we went to pitch Tidying to go and get value, of course. But yeah, out comes the Galactic Spiral Dragon, and then we're going to go ahead and bring back this copy of Chamber by banishing Tidying from Graveyard, and we're going to trigger the Chamber to search for another Tidying. And then from here, we're going to link these off into a copy of Masquerena because we can bring back the Chaos Ruler by banishing 2. And then it's here where I remember, oh yeah, I totally forgot this router, which I should have used a long time ago. So here we're going to overlay into the Undead Vampire, or I think it's called the Zombie Vampire now in the TCG. So if you guys are unfamiliar, this card is a generic rank 8 that allows you to use monsters that were owned by your opponent if you control them, as long as they have a level. So that's pretty cool. Works with the Triple Tactics talent and the Dark Charmer, which I actually forgot to put in this list initially. So the Dark Charmer is really, really sick in just general because it is good against like this matchup, the Phantom Knight matchup, because there's a lot of things you can take. Also, you can hit the DP after like they use it if it pops itself. Like you can take it, and then like if you overlay with it and you just keep it underneath this card until your opponent's turn, they have to bring back either the Celestial or the Dasher, which is pretty cool. Or you could just take the Celestial to cut off the draw 2 in certain scenarios, which is pretty nice as well. So like a lot of cool things you can do with this card, and I think it is very, very strong. And this card allows you to go ahead and detach 1 to mill the top 4 cards of both players' decks to the grave, and then you can special summon any monster among them with this effect, which is pretty crazy. Also has a targeting protection effect, which you want to know as well. Basically, it can't be targeted by monsters that are special summoned from anywhere besides the graveyard. So a lot of cool effects. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and both of us will mill 4. We hit 2 Nocto, Driver, and Quick Launch. And then off his deck, we hit Rhoda, Ogre, Ash, and Fogblade. I actually didn't know what deck he was on prior to this, so it's a good thing we actually didn't hit any PK monsters because we could have helped him out. That's kind of the gamble with this, is that it could be really bad if you give them resources, but it could also be pretty good because a lot of the engines right now, like the Adventure package and the DP package, have things that you could realistically hit that would completely ruin that engine. So if you, for example, hit like the Fateful Adventure or the Wandering Griffin Rider, that could really mess things up, or Celestial Dasher, obviously. So there is a non-zero chance that you could hit those cards. You're milling 4, which is a decent amount. And there's also cool things like if I didn't have Ogre added to my hand already off Chaos Ruler, I could like steal his right now and just leave it on board because this could activate on the field as well. Similar with like Lancia and stuff, you could like take their Lancias and use it against them if like the situation calls for it. But yeah, that's pretty solid. We go ahead and just grab at the Noct Division since we are already in pretty good shape. And then we can go ahead and normal summon out Rocket Synchron, and I go ahead and link into a Quad Burrow. I just want to see what I can draw. I played this a bit greedily, you might have noticed, but I just want to see what the highest ceiling of the deck could be. It's been a while since I played Dragon Link, but yeah, we go ahead and draw into a Farid there, which is not bad, definitely good follow-up. We're going to Quad Burrow to pitch a Tracer to pop itself, and then we're going to bring back Tracer Recharger, and then we're going to synchro those off into Savage. I just skipped a step there for, to save time a bit. And then we're going to set Tiding and Pass. So we have Seal, Masquerena, Savage, Tiding, and Ogre. And we have lots of really good follow-up. We have like Spiral follow-up. We have Chaos Ruler follow-up. Like if this stays on field, like we can mill 4 more. We have Safer. We have Ravine. We have so much stuff here. Like the Seal follow-up too with like Tiding, Bring Back Chamber. Like we have an insane amount of follow-up here. He draws a copy of Fateful Adventure for turn, which is obviously not the greatest right here. And so he's going to activate Fateful and then activate the right. And he knows we have Ghost Ogre because we added it off the ruler. So he's trying to just force it out here. So of course, we're just going to Ogre the Fateful. And then we're going to go ahead and seal the normal summon of this copy of Torrent Scales. And he actually has no way to extend past this. So he's just going to concede. So yeah, pretty cool. I really like the Vampire card. Obviously, it wasn't necessary there to like construct a lot of the end board. Like we beat him pretty much with just Ogre plus Seal, which was achieved by just the normal Dragon Link strategy. But I think that, the Vampire card is too cool not to show off. I like that card a lot. I don't know if it's going to actually become mainstay, like staple in the deck, but I do think it's a very, very cool card at least. So yeah, moving on to game number 2, his hand's going to be Nibiru, Ash, Fateful, Right, and Fogblade. He draws this card a lot. But yeah, he has no PKs at all, so it's pretty much just adventurous stuff with hand traps. And our hand going second is going to contain Gamma, Quick Launch, Router, Double Ghost Ogre. So our hand is looking pretty good here. So we're going to go ahead and, or he's going to activate Fateful and then activate Right, and then summon out the token. And he's going to trigger the Fateful, we're going to chain Ghost Ogre, and he's going to set Fogblade and pass. We draw into Spiral Dragon for turn. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a spoiler. I kind of punt this game on several occasions, and you'll kind of see, like, this game should not be, it should not be losable from this position, even through, like, Nib, Ash plus Fogblade. There he wanted to see what the top deck would be, and of course it's a Torrent Scale, it's never lucky. So we're going to go ahead and activate Quick Launch to summon out Rocket Synchron. And then we're going to go for Router. And here we go straight into Ruler. I probably should have just gone into Striker Dragon and then go for Romulus first. This line was a little greedy. I pretty much like disrespected Fogblade entirely there. Where I could have like forced out more stuff if I just went for like the normal Dragon Link plays first. Because like the cards I have in my hand aren't great. Like I don't really want to be normal summoning Ghost Ogre because it doesn't really achieve a lot besides like Halka Firebrax potentially into like a Rocket Synchron, but that doesn't do a ton. So yeah, a bit greedy on my end. He's going to chain Fogblade to my Ruler. It's Ruler 1, Router 2, and then Fogblade 3. So we're going to resolve this. Then we're going to pick up a copy of Tracer. Then we're going to normal the Tracer, and then turn that into a Striker Dragon, and then we're going to add a copy of Boot Sector. And then from here, we are going to go ahead and I think I do this, and then I can't remember if I took this back. Let's actually watch because it's been a couple days since I played this match. So we're going to Romulus to add Ravine here, and then we're Ravine to pitch the Spiral Dragon. I think I realized I messed up because I was trying to go for the Vampire monster here. And then, yeah, now I remember. This is where I realized that, wait, the Romulus is not a lighter Dark Dragon monster. So I can't summon the Galactic Spiral if I do it this way. Because my intention was to go and, send off the ravine something impactful, like potentially like a safer. But yeah, I just totally messed this up, and then I realized that I should not be doing this play. So we go ahead and rewind the game state a little bit here, because again, it's been, I think the last time I actively played Dragons was like September 2020 format. Back, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but back this is like my second or third take trying to do this video. But yeah, like back when like LP was legal and the carrier Buster Lock was in play. Good times or bad times depending on how you look at it. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and summon a Spiral instead, just like right here, because it can summon from hand. And so we're just gonna go right into the Vampire, and then we're going to Vampire effect. He doesn't choose to chain Ash to this because he wants to get like more value off the mills. We hit the Griffin Rider, which is pretty good. Yeah, hitting the Torrent skills is not the greatest. I think I realized that I didn't shuffle. Yeah, because I milled the Ravine, and then I actually didn't shuffle when I went to go put stuff back. So I just redo the mills here. And then the mills were ended up being better for us. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and move that Tracer off the Vampire. And from here, we're playing pretty hard into the Biru. Oh, just kidding. I brought back the Safred instead. Because, yeah, it's obviously better to bring my Safred. Why would I bring my Tracer? Yeah, you can tell that I'm kind of fumbling my way through the deck a bit. But that's, again, what testing's for. I would never do this in rated or like any competitive setting. Here, yeah, I realized I forgot to detach off this, and then he's gonna drop Nibiru. So yeah, that's pretty good. And we are forced to pass off of that. So yeah, I played pretty hard into actually we're not forced to pass. Let me get to that. I played pretty hard into Nibiru. What I could have done after is I could have safer to add back Levy. I just totally forgot that I milled Levy off the Vampire. So I should have just safer to bring back Levy, and then we could like summon back the Chaos Ruler as well, because we have a bunch of lights engrave, and we could go for like we can go for a hand rip, and we can go for like seal at minimum. Like, we have done a lot there actually. So yeah, I don't know why I just passed actually. I think I just totally forgot that I had the Levy engrave. Yeah, he picks up a copy of Torrent Scales. This is where I was saying that I threw the game on multiple occasions. Like, this is the first throw. This isn't even the last one. So yeah, here he summons the Torrent Scales, and then he pitches Ash. Here, deciding if I want to Ghost Ogre this. If I Ogre this, then he could send the Cloak and then banish it, and then bring back Torrent Scales and then summon Boots anyways. Then he goes like first combo. So I decided to just hold it. And then he's gonna just, skip a couple of steps. He's gonna send Cloak off the Torrent Scales, banish it, summon or search for Boots, and then summon Boots. And then here he's gonna actually overlay into a copy of the Break Sword. And then he's going to activate Break Sword's effect to pop the token, and then he's gonna bring back. But I'm gonna chain Gamma to the Graveyard effect, which was pretty fortunate for us. That like he cleared our board there. Yeah, I don't really know exactly because I don't think that he's playing the BAs. Like the BAs aren't really common in the build with the adventure token stuff. So I don't really know what Carabini would have sent if he went for Carabini, because the Torrent Scales would have gotten, or no, wouldn't have gotten banished because it was just normal summoned there, right? So yeah, he probably could have gone for just like the standard Rusty stuff, but I think he wants to play around hand traps, which is fair enough. So he's going to go ahead and banish Silent Boots to add Fog Blade, and then going to go ahead and set the Fog Blade and then pass. So he could have, I think we both fumbled this game quite a lot here. I think we were kind of thinking about this afterwards. Like he could have summoned Torrent Scales back and then just go Verte, and then he could have like summoned Deep E right here, which would have been pretty good. Here we're going to go ahead and draw a copy of Nibiru for turn. Yeah, this was not a very well played game. But again, that's what testing's for. And if you guys have any like thoughts or comments, leave them down below. But again, like new format testing, we're trying to like learn these decks quite a lot, because I don't know how often he plays Fam Knight actually. But I know that I haven't played Dragon Link in like forever. Yeah, we're gonna do what we were supposed to do last turn, which was safer to add back Levy. And here I accidentally banished 3 darks. I meant to banish the light there. And we're gonna try and pop 2. He's gonna chain Fog Blade, which we know he had set, of course. And then from here, we're going to normal out Ghost Ogre, and then we are playing Halka Fibrack, so we can go into that. This should fall off right here. We're going to Hulk to summon out Rocket Synchron, and then we're going to go ahead and banish 2 to bring back the Chaos Ruler. And then we're going to go and Spiral Dragon to summon itself, which is a mistake, because this actually doesn't do anything right now, since I don't play another rank 8, and maybe I should for scenarios like this, because Like if you Spiral Dragon summon itself and like bring back the Chaos Ruler to over into Vampire, like you still have 2 more rank 8s for next turn. So it might be worth just play another rank 8. Here though, we're just gonna go into a copy of Hot Red, which is pretty decent. It clears the Nibiru. And then we're gonna go ahead and use the effect when it deals battle damage to bring back Tracer. And then we're gonna attack with the Helica Fibrax. And I don't have any links engraved, so I'm gonna have to pop my Helica Fibrax off of this copy of Tracer. And then he's gonna chain the Fog Blade to bring back the Torn Scales. We're gonna somehow recharger off Tracer. And then the other Torn Scales is gonna summon itself because of course APK was banished. And then we are going to go just into a Savage here. And then we're gonna equip the Helica Fibrax and we're gonna pass. So yeah, I mean, we recovered decently. It shouldn't have gotten to this point realistically. And we also shouldn't have summoned the Spiral Dragon. Like this was not doing anything here. So he draws a copy of the Stained Greaves for turn. And then here he's going to start things out by overlaying into the Break Sword. He wants to force things out. And then he's going to go ahead and... I think he thinks for a while, actually, about what he wants to summon, actually. But he does go for the Leviair. And then he's going to Leviair to bring back... I do hot red this. Maybe it was worth it not to hot red it. Because, like, what does he do afterwards, right? Like, this just brings back, one of his, like, resources, which is, it's good, but it's not, like, threatening the board state. So I probably should have just waited for something like a Verte maybe to hit the board. But yeah, I probably shouldn't have shotgunned the Abyss. I should have thought a bit more about, like, why I was negating this. Because apart from, like, oh, it gives him back a resource, like, what is it actually doing with it, right? So I didn't really think super critically there about what this actually accomplished. So yeah, Leviair is going to attack into the Spiral Dragon. He's going to take some damage and then go into the Zeus. I think he forgot to take damage there, but I don't think it ends up mattering. We're going to Savage to negate the Zeus, of course, and then your normal summons out the Stained Greaves and then goes Verte here. And then here comes the DPE. So yeah, we definitely made a mistake. Like, we should not have let him get to this point because we could have done a lot more on previous turns to just ensure that this didn't happen. But yeah, he's going to DPE to pop, and he's going to pop our Abyss as well as the Fog Blade that was just kind of stranded there since we overlaid with the Chaos Ruler earlier. And then he's gonna pass. We draw Collapse Serpent with no lights engraved, which is unfortunate. We banished like all of our lights already. So yeah, now we have to kind of figure out what we want to do here. We're gonna go into the battle phase, and then we're gonna use Savage to attack the DPE just to force it. And then we're gonna go and chain to negate the DPE on-field effect. And then it gets attacked over. He activates the Graveyard effect, and then we're gonna let that resolve, of course. And we don't have a lot we can do here. The best we can really do is... I thought about going Quad Boral. So like Quad Boral pitch to pop the Verte to bring back 2, but we don't have any more Synchros left. And we're locked out of Link 2 or lower, so we can't go into like Seal or IP or anything. And we don't really have much we can do after that. So like I realized that, yeah, this is probably not the play. So let's go into Seal instead. Because I could have pitched a Beard to put a Light Engrave for the Collapse Serpent as well, but again, like I didn't really have much to climb into because I'm not like on Appaloosa or anything. So yeah, we just passed on Seal, which again, like this game should have been very winnable given how like weak his hand was and how much we hand trapped him. But we just played it out pretty poorly. But that's again what testing is for, right? And that's why I upload these videos, because I make a lot of mistakes and I want to kind of recap them. Like I want to VOD review, and I just like VOD review, but also turn it into content along the way. So he draws Droplet for turn, which is not horrible here. He's going to go ahead and Droplet in the draw phase to get rid of the Seal, or to negate the Seal. And I could have activated Boot to play around that, actually. Just so that I could like chain Seal to bounce Boot and then like get value. I mean, I guess it didn't matter anyways, to be fair, because like really all it's doing now is just getting a monster from deck with its tribute effect. DB comes back in standby, and then he's going to go ahead and Fog Blade to bring back the Stained Greaves, and then Torn Scale summon itself back. And then he's going to turn these into a copy of the Carabini. And yeah, this should be banished. The Torrents, or the Stained Greaves should also be banished because it was brought back via the Fog Blade. Carabini is going to send a copy of Gloves, and Gloves will send a copy of Wing. And then he's going to Wing to bring back the Break Sword. And he's going to turn these into a copy of the Rusty. I deliberated on using the Beer before Rusty hit the board, but I didn't think it like mattered too much because he didn't realistically have a way to get into like Fall Blade access, I guess, unless if like he drew really well off Celestial here, which is like the only form of follow-up right now. But yeah, this should be banished as well. We catch that later. Yeah, so here I go ahead and activate Seal and then I chain Nibiru. So yeah, he is going to chain the DP to pop itself and the Rusty. So now nothing gets tributed, and so Nibiru stays in my hand because it wasn't able to tribute anything. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we go Seal Chain Link 1 because it's mandatory, and then DP Chain Link 2, so we summon out safer. That way we can go ahead and add back Levy, and we also now have a Light Engrave for the Collapse Serpent, so we have a lot of we have more follow-up now. Now it's Celestial time. He's going to draw into Ash E-Tilly, which aren't really that good. So he just passes. We draw another safer for turn, of course, after we just summon it off the seal. DP comes back, and then we're going to go ahead and activate Sacred Effect. He's going to Ash Blossom this, which is fine with me. Because all that was going to get was like a Rocket Monster or like a Chamber, perhaps. But yeah, it wasn't going to get anything that was like super crazy. So I'm actually fine with getting Ash out of the way. Because I can still answer the DPE with the Levianeer, so I'm not feeling too beat up about this. So we're going to go ahead and activate the Boot Sector, or we could do this as well. I think I just wanted the Levy for like a big body, or actually no, I if I remember correctly, I used it to actually rip the last card in case there was another hand trap. So yeah, Boot gets popped off the DPE, and we're still in a 5 spot. We can go safer to add back Levy, and then we can go ahead and Levy to go ahead and spin back the last card by banishing the darks. And then we get a normal summon out Safered, and then I'm just showing him Collapse Serpent because we do have game. We can go into any Link 2, and then we can go for Wyvern Burster off the Collapse Serpent. And then this is a Unicorn access code because I do play those cards. So yeah, that would have been 53 for game. So that was a pretty interesting match. Again, the game 2 was pretty sloppy, I'm not going to lie. It was not the cleanest game, but I think it was a good showcase of just like how crazy the Vampire card is. Like that card is really, really cool. And even though it didn't like put in a lot of work in terms of like disrupting my opponent's engines, you don't have to worry about that as much. Like it's just good for advancing your own game state, and the fact that you can reborn anything is pretty nuts. Like reborning like the Lancia Ogre interaction is pretty nice. You can just take your opponent's resources, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I do like this a lot. I think the deck is pretty cool. You didn't get to see Destrudo at all. Destrudo actually, it's not even like the craziest boost to this deck. It's pretty good for sure, but it's not necessary. It is though a tuner extender that's like sendable off Ravine, so you can like do some cool Noodle Fiber plays with it. So yeah, that's something to definitely test out or like play around with some more. But yeah, I do want to get better with this deck again because I'm not like the greatest with a lot of these decks right now. So I just want to kind of like, or I do just want to kind of sit down and work and grind a bit on these decks. But that's going to be it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys.